Okay, let's go. I just got the text off the painter. Car's ready, let's go. So I left the car over to the lads at the start of July, and they got into it pretty quick, like essentially straight away. I had to bring a couple of extra bits over. I wanted to take the work wheels off it just in case there was overspray on them or anything like that, but a few other little bits and extras that I had forgot to take off it, little things like that. So I was calling over back and forth a couple of times. But when I went over the next day to swap the wheels, they had already started filling the quarter panels and stuff there that you can see in the pictures. They got straight into it. It was fantastic to see such progress so quick, you know. So that all went pretty sharp until we got to painting the roof, or they got to painting the roof. So as you might have seen in other videos, you know, there's a little bit of rust and stuff up around the sunroof frame, and Ivan, the painter, asked me to come over and take down the headlining out of it, the headliner that you would have seen me trim before. So went over one day and we took it down, and all around the sunroof frame, which had been previously repaired, was, I mean, absolutely fucked. I might have a little video of it actually that I can stick in here. So yeah, you can see why we needed to change it. And we were kind of looking at it, and you know, he was saying, oh, it could be repaired, but like it's an awful lot of work because there's so many different shapes and curves and stuff like that in the sections that was there all around the sunroof frame and the inner structure and all that kind of stuff, that he said it'd be easier if you just had a fucking roof skin. And by pure luck, if you'd seen the donor car video, I had cut the roof off that car. So I kind of like cheeky smiled. I said, what if I told you I had a roof skin? And he said, fuck it, bring it over. So we brought the whole roof skin over. We had a look at it and it was absolutely perfect. So as you can see, we've pretty much half the roof gone. Right in the centre of your screen there where it's cut, that's the end of the sunroof. And then obviously right there is, well, I know obviously you can't see where I'm pointing, but just in the middle of your screen there is the end of the sunroof tray. So we cut pretty much half the roof out of it, like drilled out the spot welds and cut it out of it. And then the same with that's the donor piece. Like, look how tidy it is all around the edge. All that edge there where the sunroof, where the rubber would sit, was falling apart. And this is supposed to be stuff that was like air quotes repaired before a couple of years ago, you know. So that whole piece went in, got all welded in perfect, tested the sunroof for fitment, opens and closes nice, absolutely brilliant. I was blown away. Like, the lads had that bit done I think in a day, maybe a day and a half, something like that. Interestingly, you can see a few other bits in the background getting prepped, like the back bumper and the spoiler and stuff like that. Also, that spoiler came off the boot lid pretty easy, thankfully, so I didn't have to buy a new one. So once the roof was dealt with, the lads cracked into the doors. You can see like essentially the entire car was done again. I hadn't really planned on doing inside the doors again and doing like inside this part of the doors, like in the, as opposed to the door jambs as such, the actual structure of the door. But I said, fuck it, we may as well, while we're at it, it was the best time to do it. So lads got into that. All of that is all brand new, fresh paint. You can see the boot lid in the background getting painted. We did have a bit of an issue with the boot lid, where the one that was on the car was a little bit too rusty, so I had another one. We brought that over, didn't quite fit right. I think it was bent out of shape just from storage, and then brought another one over that fit nice. So that boot lid you can see in the background there is not the original boot lid, but you know, it fits perfect as it would because it's off the same kind of car. But anyway, doors all prepped ready for paint. These are the silver doors that would have come off the donor car, in beautiful condition. They're as good as brand new now. There's the boot lid getting painted. You can see the front bumper in the background ready to paint, or like having been painted. It was going really smooth. Like, I was over there a couple of times, like he was asking did I have, you know, different door hinges and stuff like that, just, you know, ones that had less play in them and stuff like that. So I was back and forth a couple of times. It was nice to kind of see the progress. And also Ivan and the young lad Dylan that works for him were sending me a couple of pictures here and there as well. You see the doors in the background didn't need a huge amount of prep or anything like that, or like filling at least or anything. That boot lid had a lot of little dents and shit loads of lacquer peel and stuff, so that got really like well prepped, I guess, you know, a lot of work put into it. There's the shell painted. This was by what, I think early August or something. Yeah, early August. So you can see, you know, also because we took the roof, or had to cut the roof off, Ivan had said to me, kind of half laughing but also serious, he said, did you ever plan on putting a windscreen in this car? Which it turned out I actually did, because that one had quite a big chip in it, the original one, since I bought the car. So I had planned on putting a windscreen in it for years, but never really was that concerned. So now was the time. So brand new windscreen put in it as well. As you can see, it was essentially the entire shell painted, like except for pulling the engine, of course. Came out really, really tidy, very, very nice. I'm super pleased with it. Like, it's straight as an arrow. It's absolutely brilliant. Even where I had welded, like the lad said, there wasn't even really that much filling to be done, you know, which was a good sign. In retrospect, maybe should have taken out the back window, but just, you can get front windows, but you can't seem to get back windows, so I didn't want to take the chance of that breaking when we were taking it out. And then by, I think it was the 9th or 10th of August, something like that, Ivan sent me a text, said, your chariot awaits, and there it was, ready to rock. Now, I had said to him, you know, I wasn't too pushed about it being fully 100% assembled when it was going, like when it was finished painting, because I would put it all back together. I enjoy that, and you know, it'd be nice to put it together and have some of the content for the video, you know. But that's it, fully painted. I know it looks like dog do there because it's on the steelies and half the stuff is missing, but I have a little bit of time-lapse stuff put together of the extra stuff to put it back together. So I'll show you that now, and then we'll be back. I'll show you the car in person. So here it is. Let's go take a look. All fresh paint. Oh, so pleased with it. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Looks so good. Very, very pleased. Especially that panel that I welded on. The lads even said there wasn't a massive amount of, work to cover up my amateur welding, to put it politely. Same over here. I've looked down the length of the car. It's absolutely arrow straight. I'm so pleased to see it done. I really, really am. Oh, it's so good. So there's still a couple of things obviously left to be done. We have to the trim on the bumper. That piece, say that whatever that is, about 2 inches there, all the way around, and it's the same on the front. That doesn't actually come off the bumper. It's a molded piece into the car, which is kind of annoying. But I did it before. You have to mask it off, and it's just time consuming to mask it off cleanly. But just mask that off. I'll do it myself. It's not a big deal. Like I said, I've done it before. I'll need to, I still need to put the spoiler back on. There are a couple of extra little things. I need to put the fog lights back in the front bumper. You'll see there, as you would have seen in the few little videos, clips already, the fog lights aren't in it. Stuff like that is purely just because I want to get it NCT'd soon, which, if you don't know, is our equivalent of like a MOT in England or an inspection in the US or whatever, like a roadworthiness kind of thing. The cars have to do every year, but once they get to over 30 years old, which this is now over, it's every 2 years. So what I'll need to do, leave those wheels on it for the inspection, because the SSRs are going to be a little bit too wide, they'll fail you on stuff like that. I'll need to change those amber corner indicators. I'll either need to put the factory steering wheel back in, or else figure out how to make the horn work on that one, but I think I've got a solution for that. I'll leave the fog lights out of it because I don't really have anywhere in particular to put the fog light button. I've just been putting the button in place of the rear defogger, or the rear window defogger. So but if something's not on the car, they can't fail you for it, so I'll leave them out of it and then put them back in when it's done. But for all the world, the, I guess, restoration, if that's what you want to call it, is done. God, look at that fucking thing. Wow, it looks so good. I'm very, very pleased with it. That's how that car looked for the last 4 years probably. I'll have it 6 years in about 2 weeks time. And it's taken probably every bit of that 6 years to get to this point, but I mean, just look at it. Unbelievable. So the doors off the donor car are what's on it now. I was going to leave, as you may remember, I was going to leave that door, one of the original white ones, but with Ivan's advice taken into consideration, he said there's no point really trying to save all the good parts, because you might never need them and they might kind of go shitty in storage, so may as well put all the good parts on it while I have it, and have the best of everything I have on the car, if that makes sense. So that's all 4 doors off the silver car. The boot lid, as you would have seen already, is off a different car. The side trims from some fancy edition, I can't remember off the top of my head. But everything is back together. It looks so good. I'm so pleased. Interior looks fantastic. Super happy with it. It looks so good. The roof, I'm blown away with the roof. The job the lads did on the roof. Like you'd never in 100 years tell. No, it's kind of a shame it's such a dark, overcast day. You'd be able to see an awful lot better, but you can't tell anywhere that literally half the roof was cut off, and a new piece welded in. God, it looks so good. I'm so pleased. There's still a few other small things, like I'll need to trim or paint that little lip. It's a factory lip again, it's part of the bumper, it doesn't come off, but I'll do that when I'm doing this moulding here. Be straightforward enough. I need to take off this window moulding. So as you'll see, there's a fairly sizable gap down there. You can kind of see into the part of the frame under it, but the gaskets that are on that are ones that I made out of just cheapy foam a couple of years ago. So I found the proper gaskets and clips online. They should be due in the next week or two maybe. But just little things like tightening up fitment, like just stuff like that gap there, but all that kind of stuff can be done in time. But as it sits, you could call it done. Like it's taxed, it's insured, it just needs an NCT. Like it's done, pretty much, the restoration at least anyway. So all that's left then is putting my own little tweaks and stuff to it, like all the stuff you've seen, like the armrests, the window visors, the sunroof visor, putting these babies back on it hopefully in the next week or two, and of course the air suspension put in. But like I'm so pleased. It looks absolutely fantastic, it really does. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm sure any of you that have ever put so much time and effort into a car know exactly how I feel. What you don't really see from any of the stuff that I've put together in this video is the hours and hours and hours of work. Obviously, not only that Ivan and Dylan put in over at it's called Waterview Autos, or Armstrong Autobody. I'm not sure actually what he calls his place, but all his information will be under the video anyway. You'll find it all there if you ever want to get in touch. Like if you're in Galway and you want a car painted like to an unbelievably good standard, and in a very very good time frame, and what I consider a very reasonable price for the amount of work, and also for just how expensive stuff is nowadays, I would very 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 highly recommend Ivan and Dylan for sure. But as I said, all their information will be under the video. Go and by all means have a look. But as what was I saying? Oh yeah, not only all the hours and stuff that the lads put into it, but the hours and hours that I spent, say, digging through all my boxes of spares, digging through, because like I said, the car's been apart for 2 years nearly, about a year and a half, 18 or 19 months. But like digging through all of my stuff, trying to remember exactly what goes where, and trying to find the right bolt for the right place, or the right screw for the right whatever, and shit like that. Hours and hours and hours of that kind of stuff. Like you could spend a half an hour looking for the right Phillips screw for a trim piece or something, because I know it's a bit of a sickness, but I'm very particular about that kind of stuff, so I'm sure some of you are as well. And just the hours of paint matching some of the stuff that was grey from the donor car to the brown of that, and you never really see the amount of time that it takes to do that. You don't see it on a TV show, you don't see it on a YouTube channel, you don't see it on any of that stuff. I've never gone to this extreme with essentially a full restoration with something, to the point where I had to strip glass and window seals and rubbers and every single thing. I've never gone to that extreme before, and I've been dicking around with cars for literally half my life, for 19 years, so literally half my life, and never really gone to that extreme. And just, you don't realise how long it takes to do, but the end result is always worth it. Okay, so with that, I'll end it here. If you've stuck with me through any of these videos, or even the last year or two doing this, I'm grateful for it. It's been fun. As I said, if you're in Galway or even willing to travel, by all means, 110%, I couldn't recommend Ivan enough for his work and the timeline, and how quick it was done, and there was no, or just a phone call randomly out of nowhere, right, come and pick up your shit. I was involved every step of the way. I was over there 1 or 2 days helping them put window seals back in and glass back in and check straps on and door handles back in and stuff, just because it saves them time, but also he knew that it would be kind of content for the video. But also I actually didn't record any of it because I don't like to be too intrusive in people's places, but I would 110% recommend him. I couldn't recommend him enough. Absolutely fantastic. I'm so pleased when you consider like that got an entire essentially full respray except for the back bumper and the boot lid, and that got quarter panels put on it, and rear arches fabbed up and stuff like that. Like, he did a fantastic job of that, and now he's done a fantastic job of this. So yeah, I'm super pleased with it. I really am. So again, I'll speak to you again pretty soon. Next video is going to be tightening up a few little bits. I have a wheel refurb video almost ready to go, just waiting to get tires on these guys, and I'll see you guys again pretty soon.